What we are seeing is, for example, the aftermath of the airstrikes that occurred. So, for example, Ismail Haniyeh, the political leader of Hamas here in Gaza, his office completely linked to Hamas, also destroyed as well. But then there have been other casualties. So areas, for example, where there was a driving school that was hit or at least affected. There was some damage in a sports pitch as well in another part of the Gaza Strip. So various different areas across the whole of the Gaza Strip that were hit. Now, in terms of the actual situation on the ground, we're seeing things like most of the government institutions and most of the schools have been closed because it's still tense. While there is some de-escalation, there is not a ceasefire, and so the real fear is that the airstrikes could resume, things could carry on, and so that means that the majority of people here are still worried in some way of what could come next.
Mm-hmm. And on that subject, Abu Bakr, about what could come next, we've seen pictures there of tanks on the border. How likely is it to see calm in the coming days?
It depends on this de-escalation, doesn't it? I mean, if this de-escalation eventually leads to an actual ceasefire, as was announced by Hamas initially, then we will see calm, then we will see some sort of truce actually taking effect. But the fact that there was this announcement of a ceasefire, and then from the Israeli side we didn't hear any confirmation of that, and then we saw a continuation of airstrikes, indicates that things have not been agreed by all sides here, and that there's still a long way to go. And that means that the situation is still tense. I think in terms of a de-escalation, that's the first step towards it. We haven't seen the type of airstrikes that occurred in the first few hours of that airstrike campaign. So some of those airstrikes that targeted some of the political leaders' homes, etc. But we have seen other airstrikes, and that indicates that the Israelis aren't willing to just stop this operation immediately. Now, we are hearing reports that the Israelis have been demanding that from Hamas's side, Hamas stops the attacks that occasionally occur on the border, as well as stopping protests that were scheduled to occur on Saturday at the border fence between the Gaza Strip and Israel. It was the 1 year anniversary of the beginning of the Great March of Return protests at that border fence, and it was expected to be a very big event. Now, Israel has apparently, according to reports, demanded that not happen, and we'll have to wait and see what Hamas's response to that will be.